I was thinking about what we're doing here to develop the spiritual and a spirituality of immortality, along with the science of immortality, and how we are finding a spirituality of immortality, which is different than a spirituality of mortality. The spirituality most of us have known is a spirituality that takes us out of our bodies, and that gives really the validity and the acknowledgement to what is not physical, to what you could call metaphysical. And what we're doing is finding a spirituality of our bodies, and a spirituality that validates our physicality instead of negating our physicality. And it's really a profound thing, because all that spirituality that has really denied the value of the physical form was experienced in the physical form. Like every spiritual feeling and expression that anybody ever experienced and shared with somebody else, they felt in their bodies. And so it's pretty powerful that we're bringing spirituality back to the body. And there's just a lot to that. And there's no priesthood in this spirituality. There's nobody to tell you the right way to do it. It's something for each person to experience. It's something for each of us to experience in our own bodies. Whether we realize it or not, it's the priesthoods that really piss us off. It's the control and the abuse of that power. And really the real spirituality of the body is nobody can control that. Nobody can own that. And that's personal. But it's also, spirituality is also where the most powerful communities are formed. And for better or for worse, whatever we might think about some of these religious structures, those people have a very, very deep connection with each other, and they are able to do a lot. And they are able to have a lot of influence too, because they feel a deep connection. And so we need spirituality also to build this super longevity community, and for people to experience a deeper connection with each other by feeling, the authentic, we can say, spirituality of our bodies, not of just sort of mysterious abstract entities that are instead of our bodies. But those are necessary if your spirituality is a coping mechanism for death. Then you have to have something. You really have to have a doctrine that negates the body, because you're losing the body anyway. So, but for a spirituality that is not a coping mechanism for death, but really is a celebration of living, then we have a whole different model, which is what we are, in a sense, is what we are finding here together, and what we're feeling out together. So it's pretty fantastic, really. Yeah. And we have a spirituality of immortality also is not in conflict with the science of immortality. It's not an either or. And so the science of immortality that we're seeking out is a science of empowerment, right? It's not a science of of these, a lot of these strategies that we find in medicine today don't really lead to anything. They just treat certain symptoms, and then the things you take to treat the symptoms produce other symptoms, and there's really no exit strategy. So the science of immortality that we're looking for is science that opens up more life for us, that opens up more ways of us being empowered to live more, to live longer, and like we say, live long enough to live forever. And rather than the science of these Oftentimes it's pharmaceutical drugs that sort of leads you down a path that leads to nowhere. It actually leads to nowhere. So it's really not about your immortality. It's really just about trying to feel okay until you're done. And so it's a different. So there's a spirituality of immortality that's different, and then there's a science of immortality that's different. And we're looking for both of those, which are incredibly powerful, and then to bring it all together, and then we have something that we can really live. That we can really live, yeah, for the long term.